We first met our next guest last year when he told us about his life as a natural sperm donor who's helped father over 150 children.
The woman contacts me. I don't investigate her to figure out any of her story. You know, I respect her privacy. She'll tell me what I need to know, which is pretty much the date her last period started. I calculate the most likely times she can get pregnant, and then I meet her on those dates.
So is it like just, you know, sort of cold, clinical, mechanical sex?
But, you know, it's not extremely sexual. You know, I don't sext with people. I don't send, you know, naked pictures and things like that. You know, we're excited about creating a new life.
And now, in the most unlikely romance story, Joe Donor has fallen in love with one of the 12 women currently pregnant with his offspring in the UK.
Joe joined us now alongside his fiancée, Ellie Alison. Good morning to both of you. Lovely to see you. So you joined us last October. Since that interview, one more child has been born. Currently 12 expectant mums in the UK who have used your services. You say that you did say your line of work was essential during the pandemic. Are you classed as a key worker?
I am. I'm just as key as Matt Hancock.
Right.
Well, fair enough.
Fair enough. There's literally no answer to that. So, Ellie, what was going... Because we've interviewed Joe before, so we know how his line of work works. But what sort of brought you to this? Because you were already a mum at the time. You had your now ex-fiancé. You were trying for your second child, and you didn't have much luck naturally conceiving. So I guess you sort of start looking at your options and what's available to you. And you could have gone to a regulated fertility clinic, but you chose not to do that. Why was that?
Yeah, they have a lot of regulations and rules, as in you have to be having tried quite a long time. Other people are in control of your journey. You have to have specific, you know, there's lots of things that it's a lot easier to just jump it and do it yourself, and it's a lot cheaper as well. It's yeah, so we just decided to do that. We wanted to start straight away. We didn't want to have a big delay.
Well, it's I mean, your boyfriend had a medical condition, a low sperm count, and there were, as Holly said, there were all these different options to look at. And then you find Joe. That has got to be a discussion with any fiancé of the time. Right, yeah. OK, we're gonna go down this route, and so Joe's going to come over. It's going to happen naturally. You could have the artificial version, the sort of turkey baster type of thing, but you decide to go down the natural route. How do you have that conversation with your fiancé? Where did he go? Did you go out and get a coffee whilst you were doing that?
Well, when I was searching for a sperm donor, it was really we were doing it as a partnership. So me and my at the time partner, we were both looking online, we were both messaging. It wasn't just from my end doing it. I wanted to involve him the whole way. He was involved in all of the decisions. He knew all of the information. We both chose who we were going to use.
He really wanted it because it was quicker.
Yeah, it was really just about time. I wasn't sure that I could even conceive. You know, I had a lot of problems myself conceiving my daughter that I've got now. It took well over a year and a half, and I started to think there was something wrong with me. So I was very surprised when it worked so quickly with the sperm donor, because I was really expecting it to take a long, long time.
Ellie, what was it like for you? Because obviously you just described there this desire to become a mother for the second time, overriding everything else. However, you're still essentially putting yourself in the situation where you're letting a stranger come into the room to have sex with you. And so you must have felt, well, I can't imagine how did you feel?
It's natural insemination, it wasn't just...
Yeah, I don't really like using the term sex, although people probably laugh. I didn't see it as a sexual encounter, it was more of a deposit. So I didn't want it to be any emotions or like, I didn't even want to look at him really, I just wanted to be inseminated. Yeah. I was nervous slightly, but I had gotten to know Joe. So my partner had also gotten to know Joe over a period of a few months before we met him. we knew a lot about his life and its history. I'd spoken to him many times.
She saw me on This Morning.
Yeah, I was YouTubing everywhere. So yeah, I got as much info as I could find.
Well, so it didn't work the first time, but a month later, you got back in contact, and it did work the second time, which is fantastic, and you know, just what you wanted. And congratulations. Then during the pregnancy, not the easiest pregnancy, and that was when your fiance of the time decided that that this wasn't for him. Now, we've been talking about this morning. There are many reasons for a relationship to break up. The pressure of pregnancy, pressure of getting to that pregnancy, or I suppose in your case, was there ever an element that he thought, that baby's not mine?
No, actually, when we decided to split up, he found it quite difficult to accept that the baby wasn't his. And he was very looking forward to being a dad. And, you know, there was a lot of guilt on my part that the relationship didn't work out. There was other private issues in his life that meant that we couldn't continue being together, as well as the stress, as well as coping with me grieving for a miscarriage that I never had. Really, because it turned out to be a good pregnancy. But yeah, he wasn't able to support me in the way that I needed him to support me, and we both kind of felt that it's just not going to work.
I mean, that's very sad when, you know, relationships, especially when you've gone through so much and then you have got the joy of a baby on the way, that things come apart, as we said, for so many different reasons. So moving on from that sadness, then you reach out, and you know, we can see how successful this has been, and it's lovely to see. But you reach out to your sperm donor.
Yeah, I decided to tell him that, well, because the doctors have said to me, just assume it's a miscarriage, and in a week's time, you know, if it's good news, and it's good news. But when you hear the negative, you automatically think, that's it, I'm having a miscarriage, you know, especially when there's a lot of things going on that makes you think that. So I said to him that I'm sorry, I think I'm having a miscarriage. And he said, you know, have you got support? I said, well, no, I'm on my own. My partner's, you know, staying with his brother, and he's too stressed about this, and I'm just quite, you know, just been crying all day and things like that. So he said that he would come and if I wanted him to, he
look
could
after
come.
You. And as these things happen, sometimes love takes over, and you did fall in love with each other. And so, Jo, what do you think it was then about Ellie? Because you've been in this situation many, many times. A lot of women, pregnancy is a very difficult, emotional roller coaster to go through, but there was an extra bond there. So why this woman this time?
Well, you know, it's a rare woman who's able to accept my my chosen profession, and they had a pet snake, and the snake got sick, and I drove them to the vet to take care of the snake. And while her former partner was talking with the vet about the snake, she started asking me about, you know, myself, and like if I'd ever settle down with someone. I was like, well, you know, if I meet the right person, but it's a very rare person who's willing to accept, you know, sperm donation. And you know, fortunately, the one person who's able to accept that, I also had feelings for her from the first time we met. You know, I thought, oh wow, I hit the jackpot when she opened the door. She hadn't really shared many pictures, and when I saw her in person, you know, she was quite a bit better than what I expected, because often people, they won't share a picture if, you know, they're concerned the guy might not show up.
The thing is that you say you walk in through the door and, oh, this is better than I expected, I hit the jackpot, bingo. For something that's supposed to be
a deposit,
clinical, and a deposit, you know, those are big thoughts to have. And I know that, Ellie, you've said that he can do the artificial insemination, but not the natural insemination anymore, because you've been through that experience and you know what it's like. Combining those two things together, it's always going to be more than just a deposit, isn't it, Jo?
Well, you know, she actually said it was okay if I continued without specifying any method, but I've just decided it's probably better for the relationship to, you know, hold off with all the natural inseminations. And but you know, it's really about having a baby, and regardless of what method you use to make a child, and regardless of what agreements there are between, a donor and a recipient, the child will have its own life and make its own decisions. And it's quite possible I might have some type of relationship with the child in the future. So, when she's accepting me, she's also accepting that. And I think, of course, we can become quite emotional and focus upon the physical act, but it's the fact that you're going to have this type of relationship with another person in addition to her. I think this is what is the real concern, and if she's able to accept that, that was the real question.
Well, love on any level is to be thanked, praised, and it's lovely you two found each other. That's the most important thing. We know that you're having a boy. Thank you for sharing that with us. And when is the baby due?
End of October.
End of October.
Amazing.
Oh,
Listen,
well, good luck.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you for seeing us again, filling us in on the story.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.